You've heard of crazy rich Asians, but the Philippines just took it to a whole new level that has the entire internet fighting. Imagine walking to an event and realizing the tables aren't made of wood, they're made of people. Those are human beings being used as furniture. This is not a scene from a dystopian movie, it's from an event that happened in Manila a few weeks ago. Welcome. Today, we're diving into the human table scandal that happened a few weeks ago at an event in Manila. The event was the 20th anniversary of a company called Nice Print Photography, a massive name in the industry with 2.4 million followers. But the spotlight didn't stay on them or the event itself. It shifted to the servers from Juan Carlo caterer. The employees were fitted with trays attached to their shoulders, their backs, and even on their heads, while serving the wealthy and the influencers. As you can imagine, this did not go over too well. The internet's reaction was swift and brutal, rightfully so. If I'm not mistaken, a Twitter user posted it on there at first and then it went viral from there. And yeah, I still call it Twitter. I'm not gonna refer to it as X. Anyways, within hours, the clip went viral with netizens calling it modern slavery and dehumanizing. Even other influencers spoke out against it.
I don't know, but this is how I see it. This is like modern slavery for me.
Ang tanong tuloy ng marami, sino ang nakaisip ng ganitong concept? Sino ang caterer ng event na to? At sino ang nag-approve ng concept na ganito? Na mukhang ginaya sa Squid Game at sa Hunger Games. Pero kayo ba, anong masasabi nyo dito?
Not only is this dehumanizing, it's also very unsanitary. Serving macaroons on top of someone's head. There's sweat, there's oils, there's hair products, and the food is just out there in the open. I really don't know what the caterers were thinking when they came up with this concept, but let's look at the defense. Juan Carlo, the caterer, put out a statement. They called it broad creative direction, and the photography company, Nice Print, said it was an artistic performance. Even Tony Sia, the influencer that posted this video, had to come out with an apology as well. But here is the problem with its art argument. Performance art is usually a choice made by the performer. For it to really be a performance art, the artist has to want to be there. It's all about intent. It isn't just something that happens to a random person. It's a conscious choice they're making to use their own bodies or presence to say something creative. But in the service industry, is it really a choice if your paycheck depends on you standing somewhere while someone picks a macaron off your head? These servers aren't exactly at a position to say, actually, I'd rather not have a cupcake or a macaron balanced on top of my head. When you're working for a paycheck, you're often stuck with doing whatever weird and gimmicky thing management just comes up with. It turned the staff into a source of entertainment for the wealthy and the influencers. That's why people are calling it dystopian. It feels less like a party team and more like a movie where everyone has suddenly lost their empathy. There were also performers dressed as lamp. To be honest, I don't really see the problem with that because those people are in full costume. It is part of a performance, it's part of an act. When you see them, it's clear that they're performers playing a role in a show. It's completely different from the servers who are just there in their regular uniform with acrylic tables strapped on top of their shoulders and head. That is way more invasive and dehumanizing. Now, in their official statements, Nice Print Photography clarified that this wasn't just a service choice, it was an artistic performance. In the world of high-end events in Vegas, Paris, Milan, living statues and strolling tables are actually a common luxury staple. It's meant to turn a boring dinner into an immersive theatrical experience. But again, the difference with the strolling tables and the servers, the strolling tables are an act. People admire the costume, take photos, and appreciate the show. But the servers here are in uniforms. By putting on that acrylic table on their chests or their heads while they're in a standard vest and tie, you're stripping away the art. It stops being a performance and just looks like the company was too cheap or lazy to actually do the artistic part. Don't get me wrong, I'm still not a fan of the strolling table idea, but the general issue here is the context. They tried to import this Vegas objectification art into a country where the wealth gap is massive and very sensitive, and it just didn't land. And in this specific environment, it didn't look like art, it looks like exploitation. Now let's talk about the influencer Tony Sia. She became the face of this entire issue because she was the one that posted the original video with the text that said bonga, and that translates to extra, fabulous, extravagant, full of life. If that's not the actual meaning, you can correct me in the comments, but that's what the Google translation said. But I want to be fair and point out that she's not really the villain here. It is insensitive and tone deaf that she posted that, but I don't think she was the only one at fault. She was a guest at their event. In her apology, which I'll post it here so you can read it for yourself, she said that she was overwhelmed by the scale of the atmosphere. And honestly, it seems like a sincere apology. I didn't really know who she was before this, but it seemed like a sincere apology. As a guest, she isn't the one that hired the catering company. She didn't design the costumes. She didn't come up with the concept for the party. To place the entire blame on her would be unfair. But I am glad she posted it because everyone else got to see what was actually happening. And by the way, these videos were not blurred when they were posted, so she could have also done that and protected their privacies, I guess. Now there's a whole entire different part of this internet debate that was happening. Some argue that the servers were likely paid premium performance rates than a standard server wage, but to be honest, this is just my opinion. I really don't think they were paid more just to have these tables attached to them. I think they were just paid their regular fees, their regular wages. And of course, when discussions like this happen, there's always that defense of their money, their choice. They can choose how to spend their money. The logic is very simple, but I think it's a bit cold. Their main argument is as long as they're not being forced, as long as they get paid the agreed upon rates, then what's the issue? In their eyes, if the elite wants to have a human decor, then let them have a human decor. They even went as far as to say, we hire people to clean our houses, to carry our bags. How is standing around with a tray on top of you any different than any of the other jobs? They argue that they're just normal workers trying to provide for their families. But the issue with that argument I have is when you have that much money, your choices will set the standard for the industry. Just because you can buy a service, it doesn't mean that it's ethical to offer it. The question isn't whether they have the right to spend their money that way. The question is if your creative vision requires another person to act as a literal piece of furniture, what does that say about how you view the people that work for you? At the end of the day, both the catering company and the party organizers have apologized. They said that they've learned from the feedback, but the question remains, did they apologize because they felt bad or because they were called out? What's your take on it? Is it just a high-end catering service that us regular people don't understand? Or is this a sign that the crazy rich culture has officially gone too far? If you're from the Philippines, I would like to hear from you. Drop your opinions in the comments and tell me what you think. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.